ओम निरंजनम नित्यमनंतरूपम भक्तानुकंपाधृतविग्रहं वै ईशावतारं परमेशमीड्यं तं रामकृष्णं शिरसा नमामि। यथाग्नेर्दाहिका शक्ति रामकृष्णे स्थिता हिया सर्वविद्यास्वरूपां तां शारदां प्रणमाम्यहम्। ओम नित्यशुद्ध बुद्ध मुक्त वेदांतांबुजभास्करं नमामि युगकर्तारं आर्तनाथं वीरेश्वरम्। ओम कथामृत यस्य जीवनं कथामृतलिखनं हि यस्य ज्ञानं कथामृतकीर्तनं तु हि यस्य ध्यानं। नमो तस्मै कथामृतकाराय श्रीरामकृष्ण व्यासाय श्रीमाय नमो नमः। ओम अहर्निशं यस्य कंठे श्रीरामकृष्ण गुणकीर्तनं नारदवत् रामकृष्ण नाम सेवारूपं ग्राहयामास तस्मै रामकृष्ण प्रियशिष्याय भक्ताग्रणिन्ये श्रीमाय नमो नमः। Today we are here to discuss the subject Sri Ramakrishna's Vyasa, Master Mahashay. At the outset, I offer my respectful pranams to Swami Siddheshanandaji, the Adhyaksha of Sri Ramakrishna Mat, Kathamrita Bhavan, Kolkata. My loving regards, respects to Professor Deepak Gupta ji. Respectful pranams to all the elders. Love and best wishes to my juniors. When God incarnates, He brings His own people, His own companions, playmates along with Him. Shri Ma, our Master Mahashay's advent, his life's mission was to record and distribute, share with all the ambrosial, the nectarine words of the Avatara, Varishtha, Sri Ramakrishna. Master Mahashay, we all know, led a God-centered life, Sri Ramakrishna-centered life. Both Narada Maharshi and Vyasa Maharshi, we find their expression, the beautiful confluence, a harmonious blend of both Maharshi Vyasa and Devarshi Narada in Master Mahashay. The uniqueness of Sri Ramakrishna Avatar, each disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, each companion, each playmate of Sri Ramakrishna, his role in this divine cosmic drama was unique. This divine drama of Sri Ramakrishna, what is its purpose? To summon every one of us to our divine heritage. Everyone was assigned a particular role and everyone played their role to perfection. Here I would like to share with you a very important fact, a fact which has inspired me, which has inspired thousands of people. What is that? There was a great poet, a man of letters, Gnanapita Awardi. He was the vice chancellor in 50s and 60s of Mysore University. That time it was a very prestigious university. And he was also an initiated disciple of Srimad Swami Shivanandaji Maharaj, Mahapurush Maharaj. And he was considered the Manasaputra, the spiritual son of Swami Siddheshwaranandaji Maharaj. Swami Siddheshwaranandaji Maharaj, in his pre-monastic life, was from Travancore royal family in Kerala, and he became the founder of Ramakrishna Vedanta Center in France, Gretz, near Paris. So this person's name is Kuvempu, Dr. Puttappa. So he once went to see Master Mahashay along with Swami Siddheshwaranandji. Swami Siddheshwaranandji took Kuvempu to Master Mahashay. That time probably it was 1930 or so. Kuvempu's age was around 25 and Master Mahashay was around 76 or so. So Siddheshwaranandji respectfully bowed down to Master Mahashay and said, Master Mahashay, he is a young man, his name is Puttappa, he is a disciple of Shivanandji, he has written a beautiful poem on Sri Ramakrishna. So Master Mahashay was very happy. He told, you please sing this song, sing the poem which you have composed. So Kuvempu sang it and Master Mahashay was mightily pleased. He said, my boy, please get this translated into English and send it to me. During Master Mahashaya's lifetime, it did not happen because Master Mahashay passed away in 1932. But this Kuvempu, after some time, he wrote two beautiful, great biographies of Sri Ramakrishna and Swamiji, which inspired many young men to join the Ramakrishna order. Suresh Anandji, Jagadatmanandji, Harsha Anandji, Purushottam, they all joined after reading Kuvempu's biographies on Thakur and Ma and Swamiji. So this Kuvempu was very close to Ranganathananji Maharaj. Ranganathananji, whenever he visited Mysore, he made it a point to go to Puttappa's house, Kuvempu's house, and meet him personally. So he has written an amazing preface to Kannada Gospel. In Kannada it is known as Sri Ramakrishna Vachana Veda. In Bangla we know it is Sri Ramakrishna Kathamrita. In Hindi it is Sri Ramakrishna Vachanamrit. In English the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. In Kannada it is Sri Ramakrishna Vachana Veda. The foreword is very, very inspiring. Here Kuvempu writes, the language is so beautiful, so inspiring, and this was translated into English by Dr. Prabhu Shankar, who was very close to Kuvempu. So Master Mahashay writes about Master Mahashay, Kuvempu writes this about the gospel. He says, this gospel, or Sri Ramakrishna Kathamrita, is a veritable temple on one's palm. This gospel of Sri Ramakrishna I am holding, this is not just an ordinary book. It is a veritable temple on one's palm, a veritable hermitage on one's palm, a veritable place of pilgrimage on one's palm. But unlike a temple or a place of pilgrimage, there is no chance of its getting polluted. Then Kuvempu continues to say, the home that houses this gospel will itself become a temple. The house, suppose this is the house of a devotee. There they have this gospel. Every day they study gospel of Ramakrishna. The home that houses this gospel becomes a veritable temple. He says, temple of God. Then the hand that holds it will be holding the very lotus feet of the Lord. Now I am holding this gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. I am not just holding this book. I am holding the lotus feet of the Lord, the Supreme Lord, Lord Narayana, Vasudeva, Sri Ramakrishna. Sakshat Bhagavan's lotus feet I have clasped. So this is how he describes it so beautifully. And then he says, the tongue on which its letters roll. Now I am reading gospel. I am studying gospel. The tongue on which its letters roll will be savoring nectar itself. That person who is reading gospel, he will be deriving great joy, great bliss, ambrosia, amrita, kathamrita, tava kathamritam, tapta jivanam. Life is full of difficulties. It is scorched. So many anxieties are there, tensions are there, worries are there. But it refreshes the life. It destroys all sins. Kalma shapaham, kathamritam. And Shravana Mangalam, it is so nice to hear, soothing to ears. Life becomes a blessing. The person who interiorizes, who inculcates these teachings of Sri Ramakrishna in his or her life, he or she becomes a blessing to entire mankind. Then we see the Gospel is the repository of bliss. It is the ocean of peace. It is the manna of divine knowledge. Knowledge is power. Knowledge enables us. So this is divine nutrition, divine food. It is the friend that stands by you in the hour of trial and tribulations. Whenever in difficulties, you just have to open it and see and read. It is like a faithful friend. Then it is the Guru that at the moment of overwhelming joy counsels humility and devotion. When we are elated, when we are successful, the Gospel teaches us to remain humble, to remain grateful to the Lord, not to forget the divine, not to get not to get elated, in the sense keeping up the stitaprajna state. Na prahrishyet priyam prapya, na udvijet prapya chashubham. Means when something good happens, we should not feel elated. When something bad happens, we should not get depressed. So it teaches us equanimity of mind. Then it says, it makes you feel that you are an offering at the Lord's feet. My life is an offering at the Lord's feet. I am a servant of Lord. I am a child of Lord. I have no ego. I am one with everybody. So this sense of oneness, this highest wisdom, it bestows on us. And then it is the quintessence of the Vedas and the Upanishads. It is the cream, essence. Just if one studies Kathamrita carefully, Gospel carefully, he or she gets the essence of all scriptures, all Vedas, Upanishads. And then he says, after reading it, even the most ordinary person need not feel jealous of any scholar, nor does he feel inferior to any scholar of eminence. On the other hand, he feels that by the grace of God, none is more blessed than himself. He attains peace and fulfillment. So, I have not studied Sanskrit, I have not studied Nyaya, I have not studied Vaisheshika, I have not studied Purva Mimamsa, Uttar Mimamsa, Brahmasura. He will not feel inferior. He knows he has attained fulfillment because he has found great joy, meaning and purpose of life. Things have been made so clear by Sri Ramakrishna. So Master Mahashay is the one who is responsible for this. We cannot express our gratitude to Master Mahashay, our indebtedness to Master Mahashay. Slowly the world is realizing. And then what happens to that person who studies regularly the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna? He acquires the vastness of the sky, the immensity of the sky he attains. He becomes large-hearted, broad-minded, as broad as the sky, they say, and as deep as the ocean. He gains the height of the highest mountains, the Himalayas, the majesty he gets. He becomes majestic, and the dignity, the depth, the grandeur of the ocean. So all that is good and great, all that is pure and excellent will come to us when we study Sri Ramakrishna's Gospel recorded by Master Mahashay. When we study, meditate and follow Sri Ramakrishna's instructions, our life becomes a blessing. Our life becomes blessed. And then he says, never before had God incarnated in such an approachable form, nor had the voice of the Lord shaped itself into a book that could be read and understood by the most ordinary of men and women. So he pays a great tribute, homage to the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. So here, what exactly what does it contain? Why this Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna is so great? Kuvempu said he becomes wise, he becomes mature, he becomes humble, he becomes capable of coping with this world. What is the most important teaching? According to me, it's my humble opinion, this Sri Ramakrishna has told again and again, and Master Mahashay is the person responsible for recording it. Thakur says there is a Maha Mantra. What is that Maha Mantra? Mantra is that which saves us, that which gives us protection, that which guides us. That is Nahang Nahang Tuhu Tuhu. Not I, but thou. This is again and again repeated by Sri Ramakrishna. And Master Mahashay was never tired of recording this again and again. So, this is a very important teaching of Sri Ramakrishna we find in the Gospel. What is that? Not I, Lord. Only God exists, I don't exist. Because this ego, this I, sense of separateness, is the cause of all suffering. Sri Ramakrishna says in original Bengali, Ami molle guchipe janjal. The moment this I dies, this sense of separateness dies, all problems cease. So it teaches us to become one with this existence, one with everybody. I don't exist as an individual. I am so that is the highest gnana. I am one with everybody. I am one with the existence. And another thing, it teaches humility. Nahang nahang tuhu means it is God everything. I am just an instrument in the hands of the Lord. I am a small child. I am an infant. God is guiding me. God is working through me. This sense of dedication, consecration, it is the gist of Vedas. Once Sri Ramakrishna asked Master Mahashay, do you read Bhagavad Gita? Have you a copy of the Bhagavad Gita? It contains the essence of all scriptures. Thakur told about Bhagavad Gita. So this contains even the essence of Bhagavad Gita. In the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says, long ago, 5000 years ago, he has dealt with this problem of anxiety. The very word, this anxiety he has used, Lord Krishna. What does he say? Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma chetasa nirashi nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigata jvaraha. Jvara means here feverishness, anxiety, tension, worries. Arjuna, give up these worries and all and work for me. Mai sarvani karmani, work for me. Dedicate all the fruits of actions at my feet. Work with sincerity, devotion, dedication, but without any sense of attachment. Nirashi, nirmamo bhutva, yudhyasva vigata jvaraha. This world, this life is a battlefield. For every one of us, it's a battle. Every day, new situations crop up, new challenges crop up, we have to face. So, Sri Ramakrishna here says, equipped with this, fortified with this wisdom, knowledge, naham tuhu, not I, but thou. Swami Akhandanandi says, if one repeats this Naham tuhu mantra, one gets highest gnana, Advaita gnana. He can attain Nirvikalpa Samadhi. That is the greatness of this gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Then, another very important teaching Master Mahashay has recorded. Thakur tells Master Mahashay, you are my very own. Like in the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna teaches the entire humanity, making Arjun an instrument. Arjun is the medium, nimitta. So he tells, Ma manusmara yudhyacha. Sri Krishna is teaching Arjun, giving up this klaibyam mas magamah partha. This does not, this fear, this chicken-heartedness, this weakness does not befit you. You are a great hero, fight the battle. So making Arjun a medium. Arjuna is representing the humanity. So here making Master Mahashay an instrument, medium, Sri Ramakrishna is teaching all of us. He told Master Mahashay, you are my very own, of the same substance as father and son. This is a great assurance. So Sri Ramakrishna is our father, eternal father, and Holy Mother is our eternal mother, real mother. So Sri Ramakrishna said, you must know this, you must realize this fact. You are my own, of the same substance as father and son. In another place he says, if somebody meditates on me, he or she will get all my treasure, or he or she will inherit my property. What is Sri Ramakrishna's property? What is Sri Ramakrishna's wealth? That is gnana, bhakti, shanti, wisdom, knowledge, then love for God, then peace of mind, the blessedness, a sense of blessedness, freedom from all insecurity, fear. So this we inherit if we meditate, if we read Sri Ramakrishna's gospel. Then there is a very beautiful description of Master Mahashay by Paramahamsa Yoganandaji. I have derived great joy by reading this. I have read it again and again. You also must have read this, but I can't resist the temptation of quoting Paramahamsa Yoganandaji's words. She says, when he saw Master Mahashay, he was a 14-year-old boy, that time he was Mukunda Ghosh. He says, the angelic appearance of Master Mahashay fairly dazzled me. With silky white beard and large lustrous eyes, he seemed an incarnation of purity. Yoganandaji writes about Master Mahashay. This Master Mahashay is like an angel. He is an incarnation of purity. Mother told Nikunja Devi, Master Mahashay's wife, Master is very pure. He is very pure. His bones, muscles, nerves, blood, everything has become pure. Mother tells about her beloved child, Master Mahashai. One day, a disciple had come to make pranams to mother. Mother asked him, "Did you meet Master Mahashai?" "No, mother, I don't know. He is there down below. Go, make pranams to him and come. He is a great soul, Mahapurush." Holy Mother, the mother of the universe, Sri Ramakrishna's Shakti, telling her disciple to make pranams to Master Mahashai, calling him a Mahapurush, a Mahatma, a great soul. Then Paramahamsa Yoganandaji tells Master Mahashai, clasping his feet, "Please pray to the Divine Mother, for let her grant me vision." Then Master Mahashai says, "Okay, I will make your plea to the beloved." Then Paramahamsa Yoganandaji writes, "What power in those words, that my being should know release from its stormy exile." So he was suffering within. So the moment Master Mahashai uttered, "I will pray to Divine Mother on your behalf," then he had that vision. Then Paramahamsa Yoganandaji records, "Who was the simple saint whose least request to the universal spirit met with sweet acquiescence?" Divine Mother granted a vision to Master Paramahamsa Yogananda. So he is questioning, who is this sweet saint, simple saint, whose prayer was heard by Divine Mother? And he calls him the greatest man of humility. And he says, "Never before had I bowed in utter reverence. Now I felt it an immeasurable privilege even to tread the same ground that Master Mahashaya's footsteps sanctified." Master Mahashaya was living in Morton Institution, 50 Amherst Street. Previously it belonged to Paramahamsa Yogananda's father. Master Mahashaya had purchased it. Then Paramahamsa Yoganandaji writes, "This saint was a disciple of a Christ-like master, Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa." Then these letters, I think these words must be recorded in golden characters. What does Paramahamsa Yogananda writes? "Master Mahashaya can serve as an earthly prototype for the very angels of heaven." Earthly prototype for the very angels of heaven. Then Master Mahashaya always used to say, "My master told so." And Thakur told me, Thakur has said like this. And his sense of identity with Sri Ramakrishna was complete, total. He had no ego of his own. So that is a beautiful description of Master Mahashaya by Paramahamsa Yoganandaji. Then there is a very beautiful incident in Master Mahashaya's life. It is of immense help to all of us. Master Mahashaya was in great difficulty. He had lost one of his children, and Master Mahashaya's wife Nikunja Devi was in a state of depression. She was throwing tantrums, sometimes weeping, sometimes laughing. She had lost her mental balance. She told Master Mahashaya, "You are neglecting me, you are not performing the duties of a husband, you are frequenting Dakshineshwar, and I am going to commit suicide." So Master Mahashaya came to Thakur and confided his feelings to Sri Ramakrishna. He told everything. "Wife is telling like this, what should I do?" Then Sri Ramakrishna became very grave and said, "If a wife is an obstacle in the path of God realization, abandon her, give her up, don't entertain her, and let her commit suicide or let her do whatever she likes. You don't have to worry about it." So Master Mahashaya was stunned. Those who were sitting in the room, Thakur's room at Dakshineshwar, they were also stunned. Then after some time, Thakur came to Master Mahashaya and whispered into his ears, "Don't worry, if one has sincere love for God, everybody will come under your control. If one has sincere love for God, if he wholeheartedly loves God, if God is everything to that person, God will take care of that person's needs." And he says, God will protect him. The king, Sri Ramakrishna uses these words, the king, the wicked person's wife, everybody will come under control. So our duty is to love God wholeheartedly, love Thakur sincerely. "Lord, grant me love, let me be able to love you. This you must grant, this boon you must grant, that we must be able to love you sincerely." And then Sri Ramakrishna loved Master Mahashay. When Master Mahashay did not come for a few weeks, then Master Thakur sent word, and then when he came, he said, "Why did you not come? My mind was dwelling on you. What happened to you? What happened to you? I was worried about you. So that love of Sri Ramakrishna for Master, and that is why Master Mahashay all along, throughout his life, he cultivated this attitude: I am Thakur's servant and I am Thakur's child. That's a beautiful attitude, because Thakur himself has told, you are my own, that is why you are coming here frequently, you are my antaranga, you belong to the inner circle, and you love me, without, you don't want anything from me, still you come and hear my words. And that attitude Master Mahashay cultivated throughout his life. And then at the last, these are the last words uttered by Master Mahashay. He was on his deathbed previous night. He had worked very hard. He was reading the proof of Kathamrita. The attendant said, Master Mahashay, your health is very bad. You are experiencing excruciating pain. Why are you reading the proof now? It's already late. Go take rest. He said, let this body suffer. This book is giving Thakur's words, nectarine words, are giving peace to thousands of people. For the sake of this mission, let this body suffer. Then that very night, next day, Master Mahashay passed away. And before that he said, Ma Gurudev Kole Tule Now. Ma Gurudev Kole Tule Now. Means, Master Thakur, Mother, please take me up in your arms. Please take me in your lap. Unless one is an infant, he cannot pray like that. He had that attitude. I am an infant in the hands of Thakur. So he had that, Kole Tule Now, take me in your lap. So we find a beautiful, Master Mahashay was an embodiment of Gnana, Bhakti. All these great virtues had blended harmoniously. He was a confluence of, like Swamiji, he had mastered Eastern philosophy, Western philosophy, logic, economics, English literature, history, law. He was a great student of law. So he was an encyclopedia of knowledge, Upanishads, everything he had mastered. But he was like a small child of Thakur and Ma. Shankaracharya has told, the great paragon of Advaita, Srimad Bhagavad Pad Shankaracharya says, Mata me Parvati Devi, Pita Devo Maheshwaraha, Bandhavaha Shivabhaktascha, Swadesho Bhuvanatrayam. Mother, Annapurna, Parvati is my mother, Shiva is my father. So Master Mahashay had this attitude. Then there are a few beautiful incidents. What are those incidents? Sharadanand, how much respect these direct disciples of Thakur, sannyasi disciples of Thakur had for Master Mahashay. So once Sharadanandji had come from Udbodhan, all of us know Sharadanandji had a very bulky body, big body. With great difficulty he climbed up. Master Mahashay was about to come down and receive Sharadanandji, but by the time Master Mahashay reached, already Sharadanandji had started climbing up. So Master Mahashay took him to a room. There was only one chair. So Master Mahashay requested, Sharat Maharaj, please sit. Sharat Maharaj did not sit. He said, when the teacher, when the Guru, Acharya, when the master is standing, how can the student stand? How can the student occupy the chair? So that was Sharat Maharaj's humility before Master Mahashay. Then another chair was procured. Then both of them sat. Then immediately Sharadanandji knelt on the ground. Like a boy, he knelt down on the ground and made pranams to Master Mahashay. Master Mahashay was really surprised. Sharat Maharaj, what are you doing? What are you doing? Then he said, Sharat Maharaj said, I am making pranams to my elder brother. That was the relationship direct disciples like Sharat Maharaj had with Master Mahashay. Another very touching incident took place at Belumat. Master Mahashay had come along with an attendant, Devendra, I think. He later became Swami Sadbhavananda. Master Mahashay's stomach was delicate and he used to live on simple food. He was an embodiment of this principle, simple living, plain living, high thinking. So he had that koi, a kind of puffed rice. He wanted a little curd from Belumat kitchen, but it was not available. So he went to Thakur's Bhandar. The Bhandari Maharaj said, see, offering is not yet over. so curd I am not able to give now. Then he came down, the attendant of Master Mahashay, Premanandji intercepted him. He said, what is this? Why had you gone there? Maharaj, Master Mahashay wanted a little curd, but the Bhandari Maharaj says, after the offering he will be able to give. Now offering is not yet over, so he will not be able to give. Master Premanandji immediately rushed to Thakur Bhandar, took a pot of curd and immediately closed his eyes and told Thakur, Thakur, please accept this, and came down and offered that curd for Master Mahashay's use. Then he went back to Thakur's Bandar, our Premanandji, and told, see, today Thakur saved us from a great blunder. We were about to commit a great sin, a great blunder. We were about to deny Master Mahashay curd. Don't you know, Thakur eats through Master Mahashay. He is Narada. He is Devarshi Narada. He is Maharishi Vyasa. So, had we deprived Master Mahashay of curd, Thakur would have felt very bad. It would have been a great blunder on our part. Thakur eats through Master Mahashay's mouth, and it's recorded whenever Premanandji met Master Mahashay, he would make Sashtanga pranams, because Baburam Maharaj was a student of Master Mahashay. 3 Ishwar Kotis were Master Mahashay's disciples. 3 Ishwar Kotis. One is Rakhal Maharaj, that is Swami Brahmanandji was an Ishwar Koti. He was a disciple of Master Mahashay. Then Premanandji, Baburam Maharaj, Thakur told he is pure to the very marrow. He was a disciple, he was a student of Master Mahashay. Then Purna, Thakur loved Purna so much. There is so much, Thakur had so much love for Purna. And Master Mahashay was responsible for bringing Purna to Master, to Thakur. So these 3 Ishwar Kotis were Master Mahashay's direct students. Master Mahashay taught them, Baburam Maharaj, Rakhal Maharaj and Purna. And the Sharada Prasanna Maharaj, our Trigunatitanandji, Subodhanandji, they were also his students. And Trigunatitanandji's incident, we know, Trigunatita Sharada Prasanna was a brilliant student, son of a rich landlord. He had a golden watch. On the day of the examination, he lost his watch and he was very depressed. He was not able to overcome that depression, our Trigunatitanandji. Then Master Mahashay, with great love, tenderness, he took Sharada Prasanna to Thakur, and Thakur removed that depression. So that is how, in later years, people used to say, if you want to forget worldliness, go to Master Mahashay. He has that capacity, power to remove your worldliness, to remove your sadness. Master Mahashay once told, he used to tell his satsangis, devotees, Thakur erased all sadness from my heart. Thakur erased all sadness from my heart. Now I am full of bliss. So that is about Premanandji, Trigunatitanandji and the other disciples. Then Master Mahashay used to tell, he used to speak about one bird. There is a bird called Stormy Petrel. Once an young man went to Master Mahashay and said, see, I don't have peace of mind, I am suffering, there are a lot of difficulties. Then Master Mahashay said, my young man, you must be full of cheer, you must be cheerful. With cheerfulness, with courage, you must face this world, face the difficulties. And he said, there is a bird called Stormy Petrel. When storm comes, when tempest rages, all animals and birds, all living beings go to safe places to hide themselves. To protect themselves from the storm. Whereas this Stormy Petrel, this bird, it relishes, it enjoys this challenge. It comes out of its nest and it moves, it flies into the gusty wind, that storm. So we must be like Stormy Petrel, he used to say. To Master Mahashay's life, he showed, he demonstrated ideal householder, externally and internally a great sannyasin, full of tyaga and vairagya and bhakta. And we all know Swamiji's great love for Master Mahashay. So Master Mahashay was like an elder brother to Swamiji. One side is Narendranath, another side is Mahendranath. Holy Mother helped both of them. Holy Mother was responsible for the greatness of her 2 children. Narendranath was in great difficulty, dilemma to go to West or not. And he wrote to Mother, everybody is asking me to go to the West, but I have really confused. Then mother wrote, "My dear Naren, you will be crowned with success. It is Thakur's wish that you go to West and preach Sanatana Dharma." That is Narendranath Swami Vivekanand. Mahendranath had recorded Thakur's teachings, but he was finding it difficult to publish it. He thought how people will receive it. So one day, Nilambar Babu Mukherjee's house, he read out Kathamrita to Holy Mother. Mother afterwards said, "My child, I heard you reading Kathamrita. It is as if Thakur is conversing. Thakur's words, Thakur's divine presence I could feel. So please publish Kathamrita. Let everybody read." Unless Mother made an emphatic statement, unless people read, study Kathamrita, their spiritual consciousness, Adhyatmik Chaitanya will not be roused. So without any hesitation, publish, and the rest is history. Master Mahasaya became an immortal soul, and he is in the history of humankind. So by publishing this Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, Mother was responsible. So he was like a small child, and Thakur, Mother used to say, Master Mahashaya's, she used to pray, Master Mahashaya's unselfishness. Master Mahasaya used to work in 3 institutions to earn money. One part of the salary for Belur Mutt, one part of the salary to serve Mother, and another for his family. So we can see this. And Swamiji, after Thakur's passing away, he was going through a difficult phase in Baranagar Mutt, because Thakur had called him Narayana, Vishwa, Nararishi came. Thakur told Narendranath, "You came to this world to remove the sufferings of people." But Narendranath sometimes criticized Thakur, made fun of Thakur. He did not respond properly. So Narendranath, he confides his heart, his feelings to Master Mahasaya, and he tells his experiences with Sri Ramakrishna, what all Thakur told him. Then Master Mahasaya asks, "What else? What else did Thakur tell? What else did Thakur tell?" So Narendranath, Swamiji, could confide all his feelings to Master Mahasaya. And when he read Gospel for the first time, Narendra Swamiji wrote in 1897, I think, February 7th, 1889 or so. I don't remember the exact date, and those are historical words, historic words. He says, "1,00,000 100,000 thanks to you, Master Mahasaya. You have hit Ramakrishna in the right point. It's a wonder that I don't go mad. My heart leaps with joy. And when I find somebody thoroughly launched into this doctrine, this book, which is going to shower peace on earth," about the gospel, he said. And Swamiji said, such a brilliant man, Swamiji, rational, scientific, scintillating intellect. He says, the language is so beautiful, so fresh, so original, and it was reserved for you, Master Mahasaya. None of us attempted it, and Master's words have been recorded so faithfully, and this is going to shower peace on earth. Socratic dialogues are Plato all over. Means Plato was Socrates' disciple. He recorded Socrates' teachings, but everywhere we could find it is Plato who has written. But here you are completely hidden, self-effacement, total self-effacement. So that is Swamiji on Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. And another important thing we learn here, Thakur taught us to be completely self-surrendered to the Divine Mother. Thakur teaches again and again. Thakur was Avatara Varishta. Swamiji says, "Sarva Dharma Stapakastvam, Sarva Dharma Swarupak." This Thakur was full of humility. Master Mahasaya records, when some stranger would come, Thakur would immediately pray to Mother Saraswati, "Mother, I am an unlettered man, I am ignorant, I know nothing, so please speak through me, please sit on my tongue and speak through me." So this Thakur's attitude, Master Mahasaya has brought it out so beautifully. He teaches all of us. So why we may be knowing a few things about our subjects, but regarding other fields, other subjects, we are awfully deficient, and the intellect is so puerile, so puny, and body is so fragile. That is why Thakur said, "Mother, I am nobody, I am nothing, I am a great fool, I know nothing, please guide me." So this attitude of Thakur, Master Mahasaya had incorporated, had internalized, and throughout his life we can find this Master Mahashay's humility. It is Master who is working through me. And before we end, I would like to share with you Paul Brenton's experience of experiences about Master Mahashay, his description of Master Mahashay. Paul Brenton was the pen name of a Britisher, Englishman, Raphael Hirst. He has written a beautiful book called A Search in Secret India. It's a bestseller. So he was very close to Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi, Kanchi, Param, that Swamiji, Kanchi Swamiji introduced, directed Paul Brenton to Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi. Ramana Maharshi himself was a great saint, an illumined sage who taught everybody this path of self-inquiry, who am I? So he introduced Sri Ramana Maharshi to the West, and accidentally Paul Brenton met Master Mahashay at Calcutta, and he writes about Master Mahashay. A venerable patriarch has stepped from the pages of the Bible, and a figure from Mosaic times has turned to flesh. What a beautiful language, with his long white beard, white moustache, grave countenance, and large reflective eyes. We all know Master Mahashay was a no-nonsense person. No-nonsense person means he was very efficient, very upright, a man of character, man of integrity. So he writes, Paul Brenton was a kind of skeptical person, atheist, did not believe in God and all. But in front of Master Mahashay, he was so humble. Master Mahashay told him, it is a higher power. Master Mahashay tells Paul Brenton, it is a higher power which has stirred you to come to India and which is bringing you in contact with the holy men of our land. There is a real purpose behind that, and the future will surely reveal it. Await it patiently. Then Paul Brenton asks him, will you tell something about your master Ramakrishna? Oh, then Master Mahashay was so happy. Master Mahashay was about 80 years at that time. I think this took place in 1932 itself, fag end of Master Mahashay's life. Then Master Mahashay says, oh, now you raise a subject about which I love best to talk. It's a subject very dear to my heart. I find great joy when I speak about Sri Ramakrishna. Then he says, I was a professor of English literature, history and political economy at different times, and my head was filled with intellectual pride. Master Mahashay is telling Paul Brenton, then Sri Ramakrishna's touch transformed me completely. I was like that peacock which was given a dose of opium. On a particular day it was given, so every day it visited to get that dose of opium. So Master Mahashay says, and Paul Brenton says, then Sri Ramakrishna, was he really a spiritual superman? Then Master Mahashay says, yes, and in my belief, Sri Ramakrishna was a spiritual superman and even more than that. So this is how Paul Brenton describes, every day I used to bask in the spiritual sunshine of Master Mahashay's presence. The atmosphere around Master Mahashay was so tender and beautiful, gentle and loving. He had found some inner bliss, and the radiation of it seems palpable. So everybody could feel. So on this blessed day, let us all pray to Master Mahashay, pray to Sri Ramakrishna to make us their fit instruments, humble instruments, free us from all sense of separateness, egotism, make our lives blessed, give us strength, wisdom to cope with the challenges of life. So Master Mahashay was very humble, at the same time full of self-confidence. His life radiated that. Deep within he knew he is full of self-confidence, because Thakur is protecting me, the Divine Mother is protecting me. I'll be able to face all challenges. I'll be able to do everything in an efficient way. We can see how we published Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, his magnum opus. So once again I offer my gratitude to Swami Siddheshanandji, my respects to Professor Deepak Gupta. May God bless all of us. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.